It's a perception problem. Let's go ahead and get into it. Number one, the public feels, and they are very impatient. I've been teaching driver's education over 23 years. When you take adults and teens out on the road, they are overwhelmed. They are scared to death. We have a lot of drivers, and I'm not saying all of you are like this, but a lot, 30 to 40% of drivers are very impatient. Many drivers are in a hurry. They want to get where they're going. They're going to go 5 over, 10 over, 12 over, run lights, cut us off, slam brakes. If you could see what we go through when I'm teaching an adult or teen, it's very overwhelming. Now, many of you say, just get off the road. Well, you get off the road. Being in a hurry, I get it. I understand it. But if you're in a hurry, you're going to have accidents. The number one reason why people speed is because they are late. I used to be that late person, but I had to make a decision. Either I was going to kill myself, have an accident, lose my driver's ed endorsement. Why would I do that? So I made the decision to get up an hour early, to do what I needed to do, to get myself ready, to get gas, to get a coffee, whatever. And I was on time. I wasn't driving reckless. I wasn't making dumb mistakes, making a lane change through an intersection. The public needs to take a step back and relax. Next, lack of understanding. This is not your daddy's driver's education. Parents and guardians on the road, this is not your education. Driver's education has evolved. And many of the materials that we have are 10, 12, or 15 years old. They need to be updated. So I try my best to find the latest articles, information through social media, through contacting the state, through talking to experts, through having Zoom classes, through having podcasts, through having collaborations, because I want to continue to evolve and I want to continue to grow to teach the next generation drivers. The number one thing is defensive driving, because you cut us off. You tailgate us. You drive very aggressive when we're trying to maintain our speed. When you see the driver's ed sign on top of the car, do us a favor. Change lanes. Tailgating us does nothing but add frustration to you first and anxiety and nervousness to my students second. And if I get that way, then the situation will be ugly for you. So back off, change lanes, don't cut us off. Many of you don't understand the things we're going through, the anxiety that my students feel, the emotional trauma. It's different. Fear of accidents. We all have fear of accidents. For beginning drivers, it is beyond stress. It is beyond overwhelming. Seeing a student driver on the road might lead drivers to feeling nervous and potentially feeling like they're going to slam your car. Relax. I have a brake in the driver's ed car. We have a mirror in the driver's ed car. I always look around the driver's ed car to make sure we are safe. You, the general public, rams your big truck up against us, revs your engine, cuts us off, slams brakes. You keep doing that, you're going to get rear-ended. And many student driving cars have dash cams. And if you're at fault, you're going to have the ticket. But the emotional trauma is done because my driver, the drivers in general, have that emotional scar. I need you to understand this, because there's so many things out here right now. Traffic congestion. There are more and more cars today. There are more roundabouts today. This adds fear and anxiety to beginning drivers. I really need you to understand this. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do. Fortunately, myself and my peer group, We have went through training and we know how to teach our drivers. Back off of us. Don't tailgate us. Take a step back. Slow down and let us breathe. We are entitled to the road just like you. I'm talking to that 50-year-old, that 60-year-old, that 70-year-old, that 80-year-old, that 90-year-old, that 100-year-old man or woman who's just tailgating us aggressively, who is not letting us breathe and learn. We're like a goldfish in the water. We need water. We need water to breathe because goldfish have gills. When a goldfish is out of water, they die. Driving is our water. Driving is our environment. We are entitled. It's called public roads. And so many drivers are so aggressive, so impatient. Men, women, young, old, black, white, foreign, it doesn't matter. Where are these people coming from? Back off of us. Let us drive. Let us learn. They're going too slow. There are traffic lights. They're timed. I try my best to have my student drivers, okay, I need you to get up to the speed limit. I need you to drive 35. I'm trying. I need you to drive 45. I'm trying. You don't understand the psychological process that I deal with to create a safe environment. And I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell at my student driver because I am a nurturer. And I really need you to understand this when you're driving by a student driver. Back off. You have to. Perceived incompetence. Let me tell you something. Many of my student drivers are smarter than many of you because we are fresh into the learning process. Because I'm an educator, I'm going to do my best to make sure my students not only pass that state test, but miss less than one or two questions. And learning goes beyond the driver's ed classroom environment. It is up to me, it is up to you, it is up to everyone in the environment to teach people how to drive. The truth is, many parents don't want to be involved in the process because I've talked to them and they really don't care. This is why we have a large number of teens who are people, young people, who are waiting to be 18, 19. They don't know how to drive. So what is left for them to do? Go to the Secretary of State, get a TIP. A TIP is a temporary instruction permit. With that, they can drive with someone over 21 for 30 days. How can you put 24 hours of class, 6 hours of driving, or 8 hours of driving, or 10 hours of driving in 30 days? You can't. The reality is it takes 10 years. You're kidding me. It takes 10 years to become a good driver. The private third-party organizations like myself, we are barely keeping up. There's a shortage of instructors. I'm in demand so I can set my price, but it's also about mental health. I'm not chasing money. It's mental health. If I drive 20 kids, I'm going to take care of those 20 kids. I'm going to drive them like they're my sons, like they're my daughters. If you're dangerous, I'm going to tell you, you're going too fast, slow down. Or you're going too slow, pick up. Or don't run the yellow light. We're teaching lifelong stories where many of you, general public, you're blowing through lights. You're not paying attention. You didn't check your blind spot. You confuse student drivers. That's the reality of the situation. I challenge any of you out here, ride with me for a week. See what's going on with those student drivers. Oh no, I can't do that. I would choke someone. They don't listen. You tell them to go right, they go left. You tell them to go slow, they go fast. If you scream at them or raise your voice, they crumple like a little piece of paper. But many of you still dog out your son and daughter. This is a very complicated process. So you perceive us as incompetent. Many of you are incompetent. Don't wear your seatbelt. You're high under the influence. You're smoking. You're speeding. You're road raging. And then my students say, I don't know what to do. Back off. Give them room. Excuse me. Get over to the right. Even in the right lane, we have to do it really high speed because you're such in a hurry. Past bad experiences. We've all had bad experiences. I've been in the ditch before. I spun out my Camaro. I almost hit the wall because I was going too fast. Slow down. I've been in a crash before with students, and it wasn't our fault. A guy was under the influence. We made a left turn. He hit us head on. I got glass in my eye. My student was hurt. You don't know that, but I'm telling you, people are reckless, not the student drivers, because we have qualified instructors, qualified men, qualified women who go through training every 2 years, driver's ed, re-eval, background check, professional development, so we are fresh and ready to go. Many of you need to go through the same process because you're forgetting some of the rules, and it's called being courteous. There's a lot of pressure behind the wheel that these young people have. How do I know? I talk to them. I build a positive relationship because I owe them nothing, and I speak truth. If you're going too fast, I'm going to tell you, slow down. I don't want to die. If you're going too slow, speed up. I don't want to die. I have to have the reality, but also with a good sense of humor. And it's really important because many of you have not been in my pants, in my shoes, and I haven't been in yours. So don't judge me. Listen and learn. They are safety concerns. I try to control the odds when we're out. I don't have my students run lights where they're going too slow. Well, our first time on the road, we're going to go 5 under. We're going to go 7 under. I can't speak for other students. I speak for myself. And I tell my students, drive at the speed limit. Why? If students drive too slow, we're going to have to slam brakes. We get hit. If we go too slow, we're going to have to run the light. We get hit. I've been through that experience multiple times. So it's a defensive driving mentality. Those of you who know me, when I drive your mom or daughter, thank you. And I get better all the time. I try to elevate, thank you. I try to elevate I'm still gonna talk to you, even though it's time to leave in the lab, I'm still gonna talk to you. I try to elevate every single drive to get better. That's how every class I get better. Some drivers may believe that student drivers pose a safety risk. Some do. I am not every other driver. I'm not saying I'm the best student driving instructor that has ever been, but what I will say is I try my best to learn new things all the time. I try to have more interactive learning games to grow. What's up, Brody? I try, and I want to continue to elevate. I can't rest on what I did last month or last summer. This is 2024. I got to continue to grow. And the lessons I've learned from my students in the past, I apply some of those. Every student is different. Some people have emotional trauma. Some people are on medication. Some people can't see. Some people have never been out of the home. And then they're put into a public driver's education class, and then I have to teach it. This is why I connect with the parents. This is why I ask questions. This is why I try to build a strong relationship, because I am not trying to have an accident. There are time constraints. I don't rush. I'm not going to kill myself to make an extra $100 or $200. It's not worth it. I will drive a group of kids and adults that I feel are consistent, that are coachable, that have good support from home. I'm not going to let a parent, oh, my baby has this and this. No. Make a commitment to driving. I'm not going to have a kid fall asleep on me because they've been out partying all night and they have an 8 o'clock drive in the morning. It's happened to me before they fell asleep. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I'm human too. And I want to bring quality. I want to bring reality. Drivers who run late for appointments may feel particularly frustrated when you see student drivers. It's not my fault that you're late. We are on time. We drive for 1 hour slots, 2 hour slots, or 3 hour slots. We go to a destination, we drive in an 8-mile loop, 5-mile loop, 10-mile loop, downtown, main roads, side roads, neighborhoods, right turns, left turns, going through light posts. We do a wide variety of things to teach these drivers how to be balanced. Many of you just drive to and from work, and it's a wrap. I take my students in all areas to make sure they are fundamentally sound. If this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. Inconvenience. Many people feel like student drivers are inconveniencing them. Not true. We are entitled to the road just like you are, and the law protects us. So I need you to understand that. In a busy urban area during rush hour, drivers are stressed, which leads to frightened frustration and any perceived obstacles on the road, including student drivers. When I leave today, it's going to be rush hour. I'm driving at the speed limit, preferably in the middle lane. If I go to the middle lane, it's going to be less congestion. If I get into the left lane, then I'm really going to have to push really fast. So that's a decision I have to make. I'm not going to be in the right lane because you have trucks merging on, cutting me off. You have cars merging on, going too fast, going too slow. You have people slamming brakes. I try to teach my drivers to be consistent. And if you've driven with me before, if you've seen the content, it's about consistency and being able to be predictable. It is a stressful environment. Getting gas, dealing with rush hour traffic. Is there going to be an accident? Are they traveling at 70 miles an hour, 75, 85? I've been through Chicago. They were doing 85 miles an hour. I didn't want to go 85. I've been through Texas, Houston, Texas. They were doing 90, a lot of big cattle trucks. So every area is different. There's a lot of miscommunication. I try to be very clear with my student drivers. I need you to make a right turn at the light. I need you to look left, right, left. I try to speak very clearly. Energy, not try to be monotone because our minds are processing information. Imagine going through a really busy parking lot. You have pedestrians walking in front of you who see you and they're still going to walk in front of you. You have little kids who don't know the danger of a car and they still walk in front of you. You have full-grown adults who see you and they walk right in front of you, who will keep walking. So I have to tell my student driver, cover the brake, slow down. Hey, how are you? Cover the brake and slow down. So we're giving a lesson right now. So you should be listening. Thank you. So the public needs to be aware. There are drivers who are driving under the influence. They will run you over, low key. My student drivers, and I'm telling them, cover the brake, let the person walk by. We have a 4,000-pound car, and I'm looking and I'm saying, uh-oh, I got to squeeze the brake because my student driver doesn't understand. From when your mind sees it, your mind tells your foot to push the brake. Those are milliseconds, and we could run over someone. But the general public needs to do their part too. A lot of drivers are overconfident. I'm being real. My best drivers have been female. Females are more consistent. They listen. There is no attitude or being having an ego. So my female drivers are way more consistent overall. And typically, if a male driver has a really good drive, the first drive, that second or third, they're trying to drive with one hand. They're laying back. We're not trying to do that because if a car cuts us off or a deer comes out, then we all gonna look foolish. So you have to set high standards. I set high standards for myself. I set high standards for my student drivers. And I want to continue to stay focused. And you have to. Hands-free is available, right? The phone is a very complex situation. And what I find is you just got to put the phone down. And that's the hard thing. That's the hard thing to do. Student drivers might also not signal their intention clearly or early, making mistakes. And if I tell you to turn on your right turn signal, you turn on your left. If I tell you to turn on your left, you turn on your right. That is true. Or they might slam the brakes. That is also true. There are some cultural norms. Men are better drivers than women. Women don't drive good. That's not true. From the data that I have seen consistently, males tend to drive 5 to 7 over, women tend to drive at the speed limit. Statistical information. Male drivers tend to drive more aggressive. They have more accidents. There's statistical data. Look at AAA. Look at State Farm. Read it for yourself. Males tend to drive much faster, more aggressive. Therefore, they have more accidents. Males versus females in the same car, males will have a higher insurance rate. Okay, same car. I don't make the rules. I know insurance agents. Okay? So you got to be more consistent. And cars, don't blame it on the cars, a Hellcat, a Trackhawk, a Mustang, a Corvette, okay, a Raptor. Don't blame it on the car manufacturers. You have to be more consistent. And because I used to have an SRT truck, 700 horsepower, you have to have so much discipline because if you push the gas, you're at 125 miles an hour. Thank you for the heart. Okay? You gotta have that self-control. And it's so hard to have self-control. Property protection. Some drivers may worry about their vehicles being damaged. When we're parallel parking by your house, I've had people come out and scream at us, "What are you doing? Why are you?" I tell my student driver, go to the next car. Many of you need to calm down. We're not going to hit your car, and half of you can't parallel park anyway because your car's halfway out on the street. We were parallel parking yesterday. The back wheel's up on the curb. The car halfway out. I said to my student driver, that's not a good parallel park. We're going to park the right way. We're going to roll our car straight by them, reverse back, turn our wheels at a 45 angle, turn all the way to the right. Get the rear of the car into the right. And I wear size 14. So I open the door and I measure. You want to be about 12 inches or less away consistently. You have to be able to parallel park. We're not going to hit your property. We're not going to get in your grass. And for most cases, our student drivers park better than many of the people in the general public because mothers tell me, oh, I don't know how to parallel park. I'm just listening. I don't judge. Oh, I don't know how you do it. You must take medication. I just smile because my medication is God. My medication is consistency. I had good instruction. I had great instructors who taught me, and then I seek to learn to get better. There is pressure to perform. If I was teaching class right now, 36, yes, my heart will be beating. But I would have activities set, a Kahoot, a Quizlet, a study guide. The kids would be reading for 25 minutes. We reviewed the test. I would draw pictures on the board. We would look at driver's training videos. It's not your mom and dad's driver's ed. We're not looking at stuff from 1980 or 1990 or 2000. We're looking at the most current information, and really it's on road rage, it's on aggressive drivers, it's on men and women who are such in a hurry to get home, they don't care about us. And then they're gonna run us off the road because you're blaming us because you're late. Disruption of flow. That is true to a point. Student drivers do drive slower than the posted speed limit. From my experience, if I don't encourage my driver to get up to the speed limit, we're going to have to slam brakes. We could get rear-ended by you. We're going to have to accelerate through a light, which I don't want to do because I don't want to get killed. So my experience, I try to make sure my student drivers are up to speed as quickly as possible so we don't interrupt inexperience with driver's education. Some student drivers may not understand the purpose of driver's education. They view the student driver as a nuisance. Weather, I'm going to speak on weather. If the state police say drivers should not be driving, I'm canceling my drives. I had one weekend, I lost 10 hours of driving because there was ice on the road. I'm not going to take a student driver on the road in a driver's ed car with a kid or an adult who's going to slam brakes. We're going to roll the car into a ditch. I'm not doing that. So I'm very aware, and thank you for saying that, I'm very aware of weather conditions. I have an app on my phone. I watch. And if I think the weather conditions are weird, We're not driving. I do have some videos of rain driving, ice driving, and it's a part of it. We are in the Midwest. It's very cold. Many of you are in the South, the West. You don't have snow. You don't have ice. As soon as you get a half an inch ice, you shut down everything. No. 4, 5, 6, 10 inches of snow. And we're overdue. We're going to have more snow, so don't start wearing your little shorts out. But bad weather driving and snow driving are a challenge. And I try to err on the side of caution. I don't want to put myself in danger. I don't want to put the car in danger. I don't want to put my student driver in danger. So I try to pick that middle ground. That's what good drivers, instructors will do. This is why I have 6 weeks to get kids done. I'm not going to cut it so close. I'm in my 5th week. I got to get this kid done by Tuesday night at 12 o'clock. I'm not doing that anymore. If a kid misses the drive, it's a $35 cancellation fee. If you continue missing drives, I'm dropping you from my schedule because driving education is not important to you. Everyone has different situations, and I understand that. So group mentality. In situations where multiple drivers encounter student drivers simultaneously, it might be a collective frustration or hostility, the wolf pack. I try to keep my drivers out of wolf. What is wolf pack? A group of 8 cars, 10 cars, going 90, going 100, going 80. You've been going down to Florida. I'm going to drive 100 with the semi-trucks. I saw it 10 years ago. I saw a semi-truck driver driving 100 miles an hour. I'm saying, I didn't know semi-trucks could go that fast. They were driving 100 to 110. Wow. I got goosebumps thinking about it. That was crazy. That really left an impression on me. And there's a shortage of semi-truck drivers today, right? I could get my semi-truck driver's license, make 80K, 100K. My career is half over. I do teens and adults. I might get a class 1 CDL and do some semis, small trucks, party bus. But in the way they treat truck drivers, slamming brakes, cutting them off, I would never treat my fellow truck drivers in such a way. I give them all the room they need. There are cultural stereotypes, I'm not gonna lie. Some cultures or communities have stereotypes about certain groups, student drivers, men, women, black, white, Chaldean, Native American. The reality is I've taught all students of color, and it's been a wonderful experience. They've been very kind to me, offered me dinner, come to a party, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, a graduation, okay, a child being born. It's really a special feeling. Lack of patience. There's so many people out here who are just not patient. In a fast-paced society, hey, time is money. Gotta go. Gotta get there 4:30. It's 3:40 now. I gotta be there at 4 o'clock. You're not gonna be there at 4 o'clock. You gotta take your time. I gotta go get gas. I got a coffee in my car. I got water. These are the things that comfort me and soothe me. Why should I drive hungry and aggressive? That's just gonna make my whole drive terrible. They are poor road conditions in certain parts of the Midwest, and they don't put money into the roads. You'll blow out your tire. You'll blow out your strut. On my SRT Jeep, the passenger side front strut was blown out. It cost over $1,500. I didn't have $1,500 to cover that. So road conditions, and you can't blame the county or municipality. Personal stressors. We all have personal stressors. I try to minimize my personal stressors. I have fresh air. I have something to drink or eat. I take my time. I have comfortable music on. I'm not going to let a company, a client, or anyone else rush me. I'm not going to try to drive between 3:30 and 4:30. It's impossible to get to my location because of traffic. I have to get gas. I have to go to the main office and get some evaluation sheets. We might have a staff meeting. So I'm not chasing money anymore. And as you get a little bit older, 25 or 30, you get wisdom. You're under 25, I'm going to try to drive every single kid. I'm going to make $2,000 a week. And I just got to go from the east side to the west side, from Houston to Prairie View, from Prairie View to Dallas, and I can drive 10 kids. You won't have mental health. COVID taught us that. So drivers may have personal stressors unrelated to driving, which makes driving. I've driven an hour to go to a location. I've driven at 3 different high schools. Check is good. Money, $1,800, $1,500, $1,600. Oh, honey, that check is good. Yep. But at what cost? Blood pressure's up, gaining 30 pounds, eating terrible, falling asleep in the car, falling asleep going home. It is terrible. It's really terrible. So you have to have that personal health. Mood and temperament. I try, those of you who know me and see my videos, I try to stay chilled. I try to stay relaxed, turn on the AC. I try to keep it comfortable. And we all have those personal conversations. How you doing in school? Oh, I'm doing okay. So, something's going on at home. I understand. And we have these conversations because we are human. And good instructors share those personal stories. Okay? Ego and pride. A lot of drivers have ego. It gets them killed. They have accidents. They feel it's a challenge when they encounter a student driver. They're going to slam brakes. They're going to cut us off. They're going to rev their engine. All you're doing is burning up your gas and making my student driver a little bit nervous. And we're not going to perform the way you want. A sense of entitlement. A lot of drivers feel they're entitled. I've never felt like that. I've always been humble. I've always been blessed. I've been blessed in high school to learn from guys in their 20s and 30s how to work on cars, those old school Camaros, big block Chevelles. Blessed to learn how to work on cars. Blessed to learn how to be a responsible man. Blessed and learn when I became a married man and became a father, I had to have a personal responsibility to raise my son, to raise my daughter, to work hard. So now it means more. It's not just some young guy, no family, a lot of money in his pocket. It means something to arrive home alive. And that's what many of you don't understand, because you see some guy with a salmon-colored shirt on talking to you, but this guy with the salmon-colored shirt on has been through a lot. But also, I'm very humbled and appreciative to give you insight. Consider me like your uncle. Consider me like your cousin, to give you insight. So when you had a situation where you could snap, take a step back, breathe, take a moment, then you'll realize, I need to pull off the side of the road. They're doing too much. Because people love doing too much. Empathy. Some drivers may lack empathy for drivers because they think, oh, that was 20 years ago. They're in my way. I've had drivers pass us in the left, cut us off to the right to turn less than a quarter of a mile in front of us because they don't want to be behind us. That is so dangerous because student drivers can't just hit the brakes. They can't do that. So you're putting yourself in danger. If anyone will follow the law, student drivers will. We're taught to follow the law. We are never speeding. We're driving within the speed limit, and we practice defensive driving skills. That is so important. To have that advantage to follow the law. The speed limit is 35. What's your speed? I'm 33. Good. The speed limit's 45. What's your speed? I'm 40. Pick up. The speed limit is 55. What's your speed? I'm 58. Slow down a little bit. The speed limit is 70. What's your speed? I'm at 77. Slow down a little bit. To have that communication, and that's what good driver's ed instructors give their students, that high value training. And that's why you're taking the time to listen to this, because you're going to think differently when you're in the car. You're going to think differently. Wow, man, I didn't really take my driving serious. I didn't really care. Why is my brother driving so fast? Why does my dad drive so fast? Why does my mom road rage and cuss out everyone? Okay? And then some students bring that in. A competitive nature. I'm very competitive. I love playing video games. I love driving. I love building motors and racing. But when I'm in the car with the beginning driver, I have my hands, okay? I have my kid gloves on. I care. I'm a counselor. I'm a dad. I'm a coach. I'm a social media person. Whatever my student needs me to be, I'm that for them. Because that moment, that hour, that 2 hours, it's us versus the world. It's us learning. And that is so important. They are social norms. Some social circles and communities, the norms encourage aggressive and impatience towards certain groups. This could be black student drivers, female student drivers. I've been in the car with all females. Summertime, we all have shorts on. Guys are looking at us, about to crash. Ladies who are in their 40s and 50s, looking at us, wishing they were that young again. They're not paying attention to the road. I understand the responsibility that I have. And I'm not going to take advantage of that innocent nature because that's not my DNA. And that's why instructors have a background check every 2 years. Stereotypes. Stereotypes of young drivers, inexperienced drivers may influence how drivers perceive us. I understand. Driving in the city is different than driving in the suburb. Driving in a rural area is different than driving in a suburb. Driving in downtown Houston is different than driving in downtown Detroit. Downtown Houston is different than driving in downtown Detroit. It's different than driving in downtown Chicago. I've been there. The environment is different. The vibe is different. Communication barriers. I try to treat everyone as equal. I try to listen. I have an open mind, but I also understand my target. I have objectives and standards to teach, and I try to keep the class moving. If you enjoyed, just give it a thumbs up, follow, subscribe. Bye.